Let me tell you something. They say good fences make good neighbors, but nobody warns you what happens when the fence isn't enough. When gravity itself picks a side, and your only weapon left is a little petty ingenuity. You ever start your Saturday morning thinking you're living in a shampoo commercial, birds chirping, coffee steaming, not a care in the world, and by noon you're in a suburban war with a bathrobe tyrant wielding a clipboard like she's the queen of small claims court? Yeah, that happened. That was me. Picture this. It's a perfect June morning, sun just cresting the roofline. I'm out in the driveway, holding my garden hose like some kind of blue-collar Excalibur, prepping to wash my 2018 Ford F-150 Shadow Black, if you're wondering. The pride of my existence, and the one thing in my life I keep cleaner than my own medical records. I'm humming. Probably something classic, probably a little Credence, because why not? The water arcs, the dust runs off in rivers, and it smells like wet asphalt and ozone. Heaven, honestly. But peace is a fragile thing in suburbia. Because right as I'm getting lost in the suds and the sunshine, I hear it. A screech. Not a tire, not a honk, but the sound of Mrs. Higgins, my neighbor, my personal harbinger of doom, coming in hot with a battle cry that makes my spine lock up and my thumbs slip off the nozzle. The stream of water dies. The air turns heavy. And there she is, 60-something, bathrobe floral enough to scare bees, hair helmeted in a color unknown to God or L'Oreal, stomping up to the very edge of her little orange surveyor flags, planted on the property line like she's defending her homeland. Now, if you've never lived next to a Mrs. Higgins, count your blessings. But if you have, you know, there's always one. She comes bearing a clipboard and a grudge. Is everything okay? I ask, playing it cool, but she parrots it back in a voice that sounds like a cat in a blender. No, Jack. Everything is not okay. You're doing it again. You're stealing my pressure. I blink. My what? I look at my garden hose. Average, nothing special. She launches into a monologue that would make a conspiracy theorist proud. My hydrangeas need water at exactly 9 a.m. You know this. You open your fire hose, and you suck the water right out of my pipes. She gestures, wild-eyed, at my normal hose. My sprinkler heads are limp, Jack. Limp. Now, I'm an engineer. I know how water pressure works. Unless I've secretly installed a hydroelectric dam in my garage, I'm not messing with her pressure. I try to explain. City main is 12 inches wide. Your house gets the same as mine. She cuts me off, volume climbing. Do not mansplain plumbing to me. The crows scatter. Flip-flops slap the concrete like a warning. Then she starts reading off a literal handwritten spreadsheet. Dates, times, my alleged water crimes. I ran my dishwasher, and her toilet took 14 seconds longer to refill. I showered, and her kitchen faucet slowed. Today, my truck gets a bath and her flowers, she says, are gasping for life. It is theft of utility service, Jack. Grand larceny of utilities. I take a deep breath, channeling every ounce of neighborly patience I have left. Mrs. Higgins, I'm going to finish washing my truck. If you have sprinkler issues, call the water company. I'm using water I pay for, on my side, from my tap. I squeeze the nozzle. The water hisses, hits my truck tire. That's when she shrieks, assault. He's weaponizing it. And dives for cover, as if I'm wielding a fire hose and not just, you know, rinsing some mud. She whips out her phone, starts recording. June 3rd. Subject, Jack Miller. Malicious water hoarding and aggressive spraying. I ignore her. I crank up the mental radio, focus on the soap suds. 10 minutes of her running color commentary like David Attenborough narrating a street fight. Look at the aggression in the sponge movement. He's mocking me. I'm starting to think I should charge her for tickets. But then, blue and red lights dance across my wet driveway. 2 squad cars roll up, because apparently, grand larceny of utilities is a 911 priority. Officer Miller steps out. No relation, though after 3 years of Mrs. Higgins' complaints, we're basically family. He looks at me, tired, like he's regretting every career choice since high school. He listens to Mrs. Higgins' whole pitch, the theft, the physics, the vacuum effect, and then he watches her video for all of 5 seconds. Ma'am, he says, patience on its last thread, he's washing his truck. He's not assaulting anyone. If you're having pressure issues, call a plumber. But Mrs. Higgins is relentless. I need justice. He is trespassing. Look. She points at a tiny trail of soapy runoff trickling off my driveway and touching her grass. It's crossing the line. It's dumping. Illegal discharge. She's reciting city ordinances, eyes gleaming. Miller looks at the puddle, then at me, then at the sky, probably wishing for a lightning strike. And here's the twist. She's technically right. There's some ancient code about water runoff and property lines. Miller leans in, almost apologetic. Jack, I can write you a warning. Just try to keep your water on your side, all right? Mrs. Higgins hears him and demands a cease and desist. I want your water kept on your side, Jack Miller. I want total containment. Something inside me snaps. Or maybe clicks is the better word. I look at my yard, the roof, the lay of the land, the fact that her sunken patio sits 4 feet below mine. Total containment? I say, that's right. You want me to ensure all water originating from my property stays on my property? Yes, finally, you understand English. I drop the hose. Officer, you heard her. Strict adherence to property line water containment. I'm on notice. Mrs. Higgins thinks she's won, strutting back to her porch. Miller looks at me, puzzled, but I'm already planning. She doesn't realize. She just gave me permission to let gravity do the dirty work. Fast forward. That week, I get a lawyer letter, except the lawyer is her nephew, a paralegal at a slip-and-fall firm. It's all, govern yourself accordingly. Demand for zero runoff. Threats of litigation, the works. Then a real city notice. Code violation, improper drainage, complaint by, you guessed it, Mrs. Higgins. The city sends Dave, code enforcement, a man who looks like he's had a long day every day of his life. He checks the downspout. Yeah, it's a few inches too close to the line. Move it 5 feet back, discharge away from the house, and you're golden. Now, here's the beautiful part. My backyard slopes, steep and true, right down to her English garden, which she dug out without a permit, making her patio the lowest point around. If I redirect my downspouts, send every drop of rainwater to the backyard, well, as Dave says, once it hits the ground, it's surface runoff. Not your problem anymore. I call Big Mike, a contractor built like a bulldozer, who hates HOAs and has a soft spot for revenge projects. Mike, I say, I want all my roof runoff going to one place, southwest corner, right above her patio. Mike's eyes light up. You want spike gutters? I'm your guy? We get a permit, bless Brenda at City Hall for her poker face, and buy enough galvanized steel gutter to clad a battleship. We work 3 days straight, ripping, drilling, hammering, blasting Def Leppard, with Mrs. Higgins peeking from her windows and calling the cops twice for noise. Miller shows up, shrugs, tells her he's got a permit. Mike blows her a kiss. By Friday, it's done. 6-inch steel gutters, collector boxes, underground pipes, and a green pop-up emitter aimed right at the fence, legal as a tax deduction. The storm is rolling in. 3 inches of rain in the forecast, flash flood warnings. I set up a GoPro, tell myself it's for liability, but honestly, it's for the highlight reel. Saturday hits. The sky opens up. My gutters roar. Mike wasn't kidding. It sounds like a marching band on the roof. The emitter pops, and water shoots out, hits the grass, finds nowhere to soak in, so it slides right under the fence. Her patio, her pride and joy, becomes Lake Higgins in about 20 minutes. She rushes outside, broom in hand, trying to sweep the flood uphill, the classic suburban Sisyphus. Her sliding door jams. Water pressure's a real thing. The patio starts to fill. The water creeps higher, into her den, onto her rugs. She screams, calls the cops. Miller again, in full rain gear, sloshing up to my porch. She says you're flooding her house. Jack? He yells over the wind. I'm drinking coffee, officer. Want a cup? We slog to the backyard. Dave the inspector rolls up. Everyone's there, like it's the Super Bowl of petty neighbor drama. Mrs. Higgins is at her window, howling for justice. Miller checks the emitter, sees the permit, shrugs. He's code compliant. It's the rain. It's gravity. I can't arrest gravity. After the storm, her patio's a swamp. Her basement's ruined. Her insurance adjuster comes calling. I hand him my dossier, permit, photos, video of Mrs. Higgins demanding total containment. He flips through, grins that insurance adjuster grin. Claim denied. Self-inflicted, unpermitted patio, failure to mitigate. 15 grand, out of pocket. She never yells at me again. In fact, she plants a row of hedges taller than my truck. A month later, Big Mike's back building my new deck. We sit out back, beers in hand, looking at the emitter, at the hedges, at the innocent little patch of grass where it all began. We could have aimed that a little more to the left, Mike says. We could have, I reply, but she wanted precision. Mike laughs. I watch the sky, a few clouds gathering. Looks like rain, I say. Somewhere beyond the hedge, I hear a door slam and the low hum of a shop vac turning on. Music to my ears. I go inside, make a sandwich, let nature do what nature does. In the suburbs, you don't fight fire with fire. You fight water with water, and you let gravity be the judge. So what do you think? Was that justice, karma, or just good old-fashioned American problem solving? Let me know down below. Where's the line between standing up for yourself and going too far? Ever had a neighbor war like this? Share your stories. Because let's be honest, sometimes gravity just takes your side.